Well, hello. This is Doug from Natural Awakenings magazine here in Denver, and I am here with Miwa Mack. She is the director of the Boulder Psychic Institute, and we're real excited to have her. We're going to learn a little bit more about her than just that. So, Miwa, thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. You got a lot of things going on, and you've got healings coming up tonight. So, thank you for being here.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Super excited.
Same here. These have been a lot of fun. We're finding new ways to connect with some of our clients and readers, and you being one of our favorites. You guys are doing great work up there. We've actually come on Friday night for some of your healings, and have been very impressed with the students that are learning the detail, the way they've handled things. They've been very professional, very heart-centered. It's been amazing, and we love getting the feedback. So I want to, not to take over, but I want to start out right away by saying how awesome you guys are up there.
Oh, thank you.
So maybe you can tell us a little more about yourself and the Boulder Psychic Institute. How did you come to this, and what are you guys all about up there?
Yeah, well, it's starting to rain, so I apologize if it gets a little loud. But okay, great. What we're up to here is that we train psychics and healers, and we do that mostly through classes and also through practice. And so what you were just talking about previously with regards to the free healings that we're doing on Fridays over the phone is that's our space where our students can practice. Because I'll always say to our students, you don't get good at anything unless you practice. Everything in life, you got to practice. You don't get to Carnegie Hall without practice. And so there's lots of practice opportunities for the students where they can practice healing, they can practice doing readings. And that's really how they develop. And that's how they open up their third eyes and start to be able to see energy. I came about this work when I was 19. My psychic abilities kicked on, and I went through a little bit of an existential crisis and didn't know what was happening. Didn't feel safe leaving my home because I was just seeing things. And, there was definitely a point there where I was like, I think maybe I did too many drugs.
Yeah.
Something happened. But luckily, right as I was kind of hitting my limit and I was looking for psychiatrist to give me a hand, I opened up the phone book, because that was back in that era, and opened up the phone book, and this woman's her name popped out of the page, and I was like 3D, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just call her. And then I looked, and at the top of the yellow pages it said psychics, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll try this person. And so I called this woman, and
had you ever had any experience with that kind of thing before that?
No. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to see little clouds around people. And when I was really young, I used to talk to entities, but nothing like it opened up when I turned 19. It was kind of like flashes and just lights and kind of things going on everywhere. And it was very difficult to focus. And so I called her, and she said, oh, it sounds like your abilities kicked on, come on in. I'll show you how to own those so that they're not owning you, And so what she taught me with regards to getting more grounded and centered and learning how to work my energy in a conscious way really helped me to be able to turn down my psychic abilities so that I can go out in public. And now, just like when I was little, see clouds around people, and I can kind of tell what's happening with the person by watching their aura. If their aura starts to pop, they're lying. There's all sorts of cool things that I can tell what's going on with the person. But she, taught me how to manage that. And so that's really what I found here at the Institute too, is that with our students, they come in and they feel like their body is owning them, their emotions own them, their mind owns them, like everything owns them. It's like who's wagging the tail or the dog, And really what we're about here is teaching people how to own everything that's going on in their life so that they can take ownership and not be a victim. So, for example, we have a lot of students that come in who are empaths, and I'm an empath, and they say it like, oh, I'm an empath, and it's kind of become a derogatory phrase, being an empath. And I say, no, that's not a problem. We're going to make that into your superpower. You just have to learn how to manage it so you can turn it up when you really need it and turn it down when you don't want to be feeling what other people are feeling.
Mhm.
And so that's also what I instill in the students, is that quality of like, well, you can take any characteristic or any gift that you have, whether it be your clairsentience, or some people call that your empathy or your clairvoyance or whatever, and you can learn how to manage that and use it when it's appropriate. Because when my abilities kicked on, oh my goodness, I would try to go outside and I'd be driving, and entities would like zoom across the road, and I would slam on my brakes, and people behind me would honk because they didn't see anything, but I was seeing things. And, it was difficult to tell if what I was seeing was physically real, knock on wood kind of thing, or whether it was energetically real.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to manage that. And so I believe that a lot of the students, or a lot of people in general, are really looking for skill sets for how do I manage what's going on within me. Because the current narrative that says that you're a victim, or whatever you feel, you're just going to have that feeling for the rest of the day, or oh my goodness, I have these thoughts, they never go away, and I just have to deal with it, or even people with tinnitus, that is basically like a bunch of energy, or certain types of energy that's buzzing a person's ear, and a lot of people feel as though they're a victim to these things, and we're really about empowerment here.
I love that. And if I may, one of the best parts about that, what really jumps out at me, and there's a thread there, it's how you found somebody. It was very synchronistic, but
Yeah.
you found the right person that you needed to find. But more importantly, it wasn't that, you know, depending on when you would have showed up in history saying those things, I'm seeing stuff or whatever, you could have been locked up in an institution, or you could have found somebody with compassion and empathy who understands what you're experiencing. And the thing that strikes me is more and more and more people are finding that it's okay to experience some of these things that you're experiencing and feel the energies you're feeling. And I felt them too. And I thought I was going weird and crazy. And it
Yeah.
turns out I'm no more crazier than the rest of everybody is, but I think a lot of people are having these experiences, and what you've done, what happened for you, and what you've turned around to do for others is you've created a safe place for people to explore and expand what is an inherent, natural, beautiful part of being a human being connected to this amazing consciousness we call Mother Earth, right? So you've created that for people, and you continue to do so. And I think that is so important.
Thanks. Yeah, I always say that being a clairvoyant and a healer is our spiritual natures, where it's actually intrinsic in being a human being, not just a human body, but a human being here on the planet. Is that clairvoyance comes with you. You see it in little infants, right? Little, and those big bright eyes, and they oftentimes look above a person. And why are they doing that? That's because they're tracking you spiritually. They just came from heaven, or wherever you believe they come from, but they just came from the land of spirit, where they're used to just seeing energy and interacting with other entities on a spirit to spirit level. So they come into the body and they're like, hey mom, I see you up there. You haven't had much sleep. Yeah, I see you out of your body. And what oftentimes happens is that those parents or the caretakers, hey, I'm right here, look at me right here in the face, here's me, I'm not up there, that's not real, that's and so those kids ultimately learn that it's more about the body stuff. But what we're teaching here is that, well, there's actually more to just being a human body or a human being. And what comes with that is being able to see energy. Your clairvoyance is definitely intrinsic. So I've trained thousands of psychics, and everybody starts to see things sooner or later at some point or another.
I think, what you kind of touch on, even the innocence of youth, right? Innocence in the sense of no preconceived judgment about what's possible and not possible. They're just having the experience, and they are closer to that energetic reality. And I want to point that out. And something that occurred to me in this this past January, one of these download moments, these ahas, like
Nice.
thundering voice from the heavens. The unseen is vastly more important than the seen. You people
Yay.
have had it all backwards. Just a thought, it just kept coming up that the unseen is very important. But what we've been taught, we've been divorced from our inherent skills, our inherent nature, our intuition, all that touchy, feel-good stuff that we can't put in a box and slap a label on it, has just been discounted by our society over eons. And I think that's all changing now, and accelerating in that it's changing. So
Absolutely. When I first started this school back in 2003, I used to have to describe what a chakra was and
yeah,
tell people how to spell it.
right.
And now, new students come in, I'm like, okay, the chakra, and they all just know, so we can just move right into more in-depth topics about the chakras. Mhm.
It's phenomenal. So what are you guys doing right now? I know you've got the classes going on. You're doing a telephonic call-in free healings on Friday, which is phenomenal. And you're also doing, I think, some live Facebook meditations. And why don't you tell us how you're connecting with everybody while things are in such weird flux and still shut down and all that?
Yeah, well, we scrambled and we just moved everything online. We already had an online curriculum in place where we do teleconferencing because it's just easier to not have to deal with the technology for some of our students. And so, yeah, we just moved everything else online. And what we used to do here in Boulder is we did aura and chakra healings where
Yep.
people would come in physically and we'd, move our hands around and kind of clean the energy out of their chakras and out of their aura and out of their body. And instead we moved that from a Boulder event to a phone event. And so you can just sign up online, and basically the way it works is if you call in, we put you in order of who called in first, and then those people get the healings first, and it ends up long distance. So the students are kind of doing it, using their third eye. And because energy transmutes time and space, you don't have to be physically present. So they're kind of like, they kind of bring you to where you're right in front of them. And they'll kind of take their energy hands and do the same thing that I'm doing with my physical hands, but it's energetic. And
Right.
I do believe a lot of the people feel it and can sense what's happening, or tingling or hot or cold. It's pretty awesome how we're able to do this work long distance.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell you I've done a couple with you guys. I've been
Hey,
sneaking in there for my freebie because they're so awesome, but I was blown away, and I felt things, and there was some emotionalism, and they were very comforting, and it was great because they weren't just pointing out things I wanted to hear either. It was a good mix, and I can tell that they're well trained in how they word things too, which I never really thought about it till I was listening to this girl give me some feedback, and I was like, oh my God, you said that perfectly. Otherwise I might have been upset or confused, but so kudos. I think the training shows up in the interaction. So I think that's turning into a bit of very successful for you guys for sure.
yeah, I love that you say that because we actually had a student here, and he did about 7 years of training, which to me just blew me away because when he walked in, he was just this like, he had this little kind of Southern drawl, dirty hands mechanic, wearing the Harley boots and everything. And he came in the door and I was like, hi. And he was like, I'm here to take classes. I was like, awesome, right? And he went through 7 years. And at one point during his training, we were having a school party, and I said, "Hey, what do you tell all your coworkers and your friends what you're doing in the evenings when you're coming here to the institute?" And he says, "Well, I'll tell them that I'm going to communication class because that's ultimately what we're doing is we're learning how to communicate." And I was like, and he said, "Not just with other people, but mostly within ourselves." And I was like, "Oh my
Mhm.
goodness, it's
Oh,
just so
the
beautiful."
student became the master.
I know. They're
Love it.
all amazing. All my students are awesome. I'm so proud of them right now too. They're just rocking it during COVID. They're, working their energy. They're not panicking. They're staying super calm. They're, staying optimistic. They're looking for the opportunities because here at the Institute, a lot of what we're doing is personal growth, right? Growth, and you grow, and I call them growth periods where spiritually you get bigger, but your physical body is kind of contracted and it has to release everything that's keeping you from your bigness. And so it's kind of like a psychic cleanse.
Love it.
And it can feel kind of crappy when you're going through one. So the students go through those a lot, and we kind of wear it like a badge of pride. Like, I'm going through a growth period, right? And so they know how to go through big levels of change within themselves. And right now, the planet is going through a planetary growth period. This is like not just individuals going through it, or even, you know, astrological, where it's just like a certain portion of people. This is everyone on the planet going through a growth period. And so there's going to be huge change. There already is huge change. And those of my students who are well practiced in growth periods, this is like nothing to them. They're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. You know, I'm going to come out on the other side being even better. Mm-hmm.
You know, what's interesting is there's so much up and down. I do think the planet, you know, this whole coronavirus, the global warming, the way the planet, the energies, and people, even while they've been home and on lockdown, have been having vivid dreams. And this is not from a Natural Awakenings perspective or a psychics. This is like from the New York Times, you know.
Yeah,
And
people
so
are talking about it.
yeah, they're having intense dreams. There's intense energies. People are feeling anxieties, even not just about the normal things. And it just seems like everybody's sort of being called. And of course, being locked down gives you a lot of chance to turn inward, like you were mentioning, and examine ourselves, and for feelings to come up without a lot of distractions, and hopefully a real opportunity for everybody. And especially you guys are there and ready to handle it. And I love the fact that I get the sense anybody going through energetic feelings that doesn't know what's going on with them and is a little confused and scared might want to come to one of your healings, and might want to think about taking a class with you guys, because some of this may be waking up. And how many times have people been like, I can tell you that even when my wife was having some experience like this, there was a couple of times where I thought, should I be calling an ambulance, or, you know, but she was having so much emotion and things moving, energy and past things haven't thought of in 50 years coming up. So there's a lot going on. And I think you guys are positioned to have some resilience, poise, and balance for handling this time.
Yeah, well, we tend to do better when things aren't going well, because people reach for answers that not everybody else has been feeding them. They're reaching for the unconditional answers, and we're here to offer that. And I do want to say one thing about the dream space, which is pretty cool. So the way things work is that if you want to create any change here in the physical, you want to do it spiritually first. A great avatar once said, "As above, so below." And what did he mean when he said that? He said, oh, if you want to experience something physically in the below space, you have to become conscious and aware of the above space. And because we're going through a big global growth period, people are working it up on the spiritual, I call it the astral plane. It's where one goes when they dream. And people are working. I'll tell you, it's been really busy up there. And because if you're gonna thrive through this, it's really important to work the energy first, so that you can bring that down into the body and have whatever change or whatever it is that you're creating in spirit as above, and bring that below. So yeah, it's been so exciting over there on the astral plane. So when my body is asleep at night, I'm conscious of what's going on over there. And I mean, people are just so much more cogent, so much more clear. They're working it up there.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think some things are really changing. And what I'm hoping is that going forward, it will become a little easier to make those connections and feel those things and connect with our intuition. That's sort of my understanding of what's happening to the consciousness of the planet. And my understanding is that the planet is a consciousness. It's not just a dead rock. It's alive, and we're part of it. And so we're experiencing this and feeling this, and I don't think it's by any kind of an accident. And so I wonder,
it's real. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely believe, and I'm really glad you're saying some of this, because it's really a very hopeful message too. I believe that there are some big changes spiritually and within happening to the planet and to us. I think a lot of people are feeling that energy, not just fear of a virus. I mean, this is a weird virus. It's very weird. Kids aren't getting sick. 60% of people don't even know they have it. There's just so many strange things we don't understand, and it's behaving very odd. So there's a lot going on. But I think what you're speaking to is that, there are some changes happening, but there are places to turn, and that we are supported, and there is plenty of hope. So maybe you can just tell us a little about that, how you see what's happening right now from a psychic perspective, and what would you want people to know about it?
Well, I mean, first thing is that there's been fires in Australia, there's been tsunamis. I mean, this has definitely been building for a while. And Mother Earth, if you will, has been trying to give us messages to different regions. And this is kind of her way of saying, hey, everyone, it's time,
Yeah.
wake up, right? Um, the biggest I mean, if you want, like, I mean, the message of hope really has to do with, I just see that if you can just embrace the change, if you can just kind of get on the bowl and just ride the waves and ride the change and uh, be present, be in the moment.
Mm.
A lot of people are super stressed out right now. They're panicked, they're freaking out, and or they're angry, or they're feeling like their rights are being taken away. I mean, there's just so much happening, and the way to really maneuver through this with grace and with ease is to just be in the now, just be present. And we teach a lot of that here, and in one of our first classes we teach you exactly how to do that. But being in the now, being present, being very conscious, what that does is, on a spiritual mechanical level, see, the body's always here, the body's always in the present, but spiritually you can be off here and there and off in a conversation. Or what most people are doing is they're freaked out about their future, they're freaked out about death, so energetically they're not in their bodies. Okay. And what that sets up is a mechanical, it's not personal, it's purely mechanical, a vibration, where then the body gets panicked. The body says, you're not with me, you're not protecting me, you're not being my owner, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're freaking out about the future, or you're mad at whoever might have started the virus, or angry with whatever the rules and regulations have been put in place. And so mechanically, when you're out, it creates fear and panic in the body, and everybody thinks that that's coming from outside, when that's actually a mechanical thing. So stay in the body, try to be present if you can. I always tell my students, can you see your nose, can you feel your toes, right? And that's kind of a nice way to check in and just see how you're doing. And then from there, the magic really opens up when you're in the now, when you're in the present. You're not freaked out about the future or the past, or upset about the past. You can just be right here in the now. And then from there, that's when the magic happens. That's when you can really create. That's when you can really connect with another person. That's when you can really smell the roses, right? And so I just see that for those of us, who are really working our energy and trying to be more conscious, trying to be aware, I just see that there's just going to be a lot of flow for all of us, and a lot of ease there.
Mm. I love it. I love it. Just being present in the moment certainly seems to handle a lot of the stress. And when we're present in this moment, I mean, literally, we're not fearing the future, we're not ruminating on the past. And it's been my experience. I love that you said that, because it's been my experience that when I can do that, I start, let's say I'm facing a problem or a difficulty with work, and if I'm more in the moment, like, ideas can pop into my head, whereas before I was like panicked and I got to figure this out and I'm going to get that guy on the phone. And but when I just relax, let's do some slow deep breathing, and let's just see what's going on right now, and that alone opens me to some ideas I didn't have. I only had one hammer to beat that nail in, and now I'm like, I got a whole toolbox. There's other options. It opens everything up, like you said, where the magic seems to happen.
Yeah, well, the answers are all within. And so when you slow down and you come back into your body, you can access all of those answers. So it's not that it dropped in, it's that you dropped in and you're like, oh, there's answers here.
I love it. This has been fantastic. I gain a different insight, and I really love that, to me, the overriding message of something like the work you're doing with Boulder Psychic is about providing a safe place for people to explore things that are happening for them. and making it okay to do that. And it's not like, well, it's a psychic institute, we're going to just read fortunes, but, you know, or whatever people might think. But it's about going within. It's about being present in the moments, finding peace, and being of service. What you're doing for other people, what you guys are doing for others, is just amazing. Especially, yes, when people are stressed out and a little freaked out, if they're having trouble on their own, you're able to help them find a little of that peace for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. We're offering readings, pet readings, house healings. We're still offering all the things, classes, and you know, yeah, it's super rewarding work. I couldn't be more blessed to be doing the work that I'm doing. I just feel super honored.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you over the years, on and off, and doing different things. We think you guys are first rate and doing a bang up job. Excited to do this interview. Thank you for taking the time to make it happen. I'm going to put this up on Facebook and get it on our website and YouTube, and we'll put links to Boulder Psychic and your Facebook as well, so people can find some of those meditations. I hope this helps, and I know it's been great for me because I get to learn a little bit more about you and how you tick and operate, and get a different sense and a feel for what Boulder Psychic's really all about. And I hope our listeners do too. So thank you so much. Any last words?
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Laugh a lot. Lots of laughter. The more amusement you can have, the better it's going to be. Amusement is the universal solvent. It just heals everything. You want to think like Mary Poppins, right? Those old men in the bank, they started laughing, and from there they levitated, right? They
Right,
got
right.
lighter. And then the only way they could get down was by crying and thinking of sad things. And you know, when you're laughing, you have that levity, and from that levity, that's when you can heal. That's when you can change things, because we're not going to change things by being at the same low vibration that the problem's at. So laugh a lot, be irreverent. It's okay. We don't have to be so serious.
I love that. I love that. I truly believe spirit has a great sense of humor. It's been true for my life, that's for sure. Well, this has been fun. Miwa Mack, Natural Awakenings, and the Boulder Psychic Institute. Check us out on Facebook and go look in the links for the website and phone numbers below. Thank you so much, Miwa.
Thank you.